If you're always busy, always working on something, always thinking one step ahead, this video isn't here to tell you to slow down. In fact, from the outside, what you're doing probably looks like motivation, discipline, even success, but there's a difference between being productive and using productivity to stay regulated. For a lot of people, constant doing isn't driven by ambition. It's driven by a nervous system that learned early on. That motion feels safer than stillness. So the moment things get quiet, your body doesn't relax. It gets uncomfortable, and productivity becomes the way you keep that discomfort at bay. This isn't a flaw, it's a survival strategy. And once you see it that way, you stop trying to fix yourself and start understanding what your nervous system has been protecting you from. Here's where this gets misunderstood. When most people hear stress, they picture something obvious: panic, anxiety, overwhelm, burnout. But a nervous system doesn't only signal danger by speeding you up. Sometimes it keeps you moving, so you don't feel what happens when you stop. Productivity can become a way of staying ahead of internal signals: fatigue, emotion, uncertainty, even emptiness. Not because those things are bad, but because your system learned that pausing was never neutral. So staying busy creates a sense of control. Focus narrows, noise fades, and for a moment, your body feels regulated. The problem is, regulation built on constant output only works as long as the output continues, which is why rest doesn't feel restful. It feels agitating, and slowing down doesn't feel calming. It feels unsafe. That's not a mindset issue. That's a nervous system pattern. When your nervous system stays in this pattern long enough, productivity stops being a choice. It becomes a way of managing threat, not external danger, internal unpredictability. From a nervous system perspective, this usually lives in a low-grade survival state. Not panic, not collapse, just enough sympathetic activation to keep you focused, alert, and moving. This is why people in this state often say, "I'm not anxious, I'm just tired," or "I relax by staying busy." What's really happening is that activity is keeping the system contained. It limits what you feel. It narrows awareness. It gives structure where safety used to be uncertain. And because it works, because you can function, achieve, and even succeed this way, it rarely gets recognized as dysregulation. It gets rewarded. But the nervous system doesn't measure health by output. It measures health by flexibility, the ability to move and stop, to focus and rest, to act, without needing action to feel okay. This is where well-meaning advice usually misses the mark. When someone in this state hears, "You should rest more," or "just slow down," their system doesn't register that as care. It registers it as risk, because slowing down removes the very thing that's been keeping the system regulated. So instead of calm, rest brings agitation. Instead of relief, stillness brings unease. That doesn't mean rest is wrong. It means the nervous system hasn't learned yet that it's safe to be still without losing control. Regulation isn't about forcing the body to stop. It's about expanding the system's capacity to tolerate stillness without threat. Until that capacity is there, productivity will always feel safer than presence. Not because presence is dangerous, but because the system doesn't know that yet. When regulation starts to return, it doesn't feel dramatic. There's no sudden calm, no breakthrough moment. What changes first is something quieter. You might notice that pauses last a little longer without immediately needing to fill them. That rest stops feeling like something you have to earn. That being still no longer triggers the same internal pressure to get up and do something useful. This is what flexibility looks like in real life. The ability to act when you're without needing action to feel okay. To slow down without your system interpreting it as loss of control. And the goal isn't to become less productive, it's to stop needing productivity as the only way to feel regulated. If constant doing has been your default, there's nothing wrong with you. Your nervous system adapted to what it was given. And with the right conditions, it can learn something different, not by forcing rest, but by rebuilding safety from the inside out.